What's going on, guys? Travis Dar Fitness, and today we're going to talk about training variables and how you can manipulate them through kind of like your different cycles of what you're trying to accomplish with your fitness goal.
I say every day I'm ballin', check my swag out, got the Gucci kick, so I had to bring my bag out. Every day I'm ballin'.
Without further ado, let's get right into it. So what are our training variables? So you've got volume, which is the total amount of work you're doing for a particular muscle group. You've got intensity, like how hard, how heavy, and then you've got frequency, which is how often you are training the muscle. So these training variables all come together to create your program. Now, a well-constructed program will have these training variables in place the way they're supposed to be. So we're going to take a look today at two different scenarios, like a cutting scenario where you're trying to get lean and trying to bring out the abs and bring out the veins and all that good stuff. And we're going to look at a lean gaining phase, commonly called a bulk. I don't like using that term, but we're going to look at both of them and how you would adjust these two variables based on the situation at hand. So we're going to start with a lean gain, again, commonly called bulking. If you've ever been overweight, you don't like to use that kind of terminology necessarily. I don't, anyways. So volume, because we're in a calorie surplus and eating plenty of food, plenty of carbs, we can handle a lot of volume, a lot of intensity, and a lot of frequency. But we know that we're gonna have to balance it out somehow, some way, because we have to also, the overarching thing here you gotta remember is recovery. So in a calorie surplus, recovery is a little bit easier because you're getting plenty of food. It's not a problem. So we're gonna take volume, and we'll say for chest, for example, if I train chest, I'm doing, we'll say 20 sets total for the week. I can get away with that in a lean gain phase. So I can do a lot of volume in a lean gain phase. So we're gonna say that volume will take up, we'll say about half of the pie, because I'm eating a lot and I can handle that kind of volume. And then intensity obviously can be very high, but I also want to, again, prioritize recovery, and I also want to get lots of frequency. So those 20 sets for chest that I just talked about, I want to spread them out throughout the week in, we'll say 3 to 4 sessions. That way I'm sparking the growth consistently. So we'll say we're gonna let frequency take up a little bit more of our pie. So, and then we'll still be intense in the gym, don't mistake it, but we'll kind of scale it back a little bit just because we want to also take advantage of the frequency too. So we'll say volume, intensity, frequency. And again, rest and recovery is important here. If you're not recovering from your workouts, you've got a problem. You're gonna start to feel like crap, and you're gonna start getting sick, and that's gonna be a problem. You're not gonna be able to train anyway, so it's not gonna make a difference. Okay, taking a look on the flip side, if someone's trying to get lean, want to bring out the cuts, all this is gonna be just a little bit different. So the volume and intensity are gonna have to go down a lot, right? If I'm dieting down, trying to get lean, my calories are gonna be a little lower, my carbs are gonna eventually come down as well, so I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices. The general rule of thumb is we wanna keep our training program as close to what we use to put it on. So if I used a upper lower split 4 days a week with about 12 to 20 sets per body part, that's what I want to keep when I'm dieting down. Now, at some point during the dieting phase, and anybody that's dieted down and gotten lean, you know, at some point, you know, strength starts to dip, you start to get weaker, tired, and that's just a part of the process. So at some point, I'm gonna have to adjust that 12 to 20 sets, and I'm gonna have to bring it down to the minimal recoverable volume that I can handle while in a dieting phase. So volume is going to be down just a little bit, right? We'll say about a third. And what we'll probably do we're going to keep our frequency pretty much the same, but we're going to take it up just a little bit. It's going to take more of a part of this pie anyway, because we're going to have to bring intensity down a lot. When you're in a calorie deficit and you're trying to lean out, the key is to retain the muscle. You're more than likely not going to build any new muscle while in a dieting phase. If you're a natural athlete, you're not going to build any new muscle. You might, but you probably won't. If you do, look at it as a bonus, that's great, but more than likely, you're just going to be hoping to hold on to the muscle that you have while shedding the body fat. So the intensity is going to have to come down a little bit just so you can stay recovered, right? Because that's important. Like I said, that's very, very important. So volume is going to be down, frequency is going to stay about the same, and intensity is going to have to come down. Now, again, when I say intensity comes down, that's not an excuse to go in the gym and just kind of play around with the weights and not train very hard, because we're still trying to hit it hard. It's just you're going to have to pull back a little bit because your muscles and your body is going to be a little bit weaker. You're asking your body to perform at the same level, fully carved up and all that good stuff with no carbs, very little calories, just enough to get by. So it's going to take some adjusting. Now, going back to these, like I said, the big thing is recovery. And you're going to have to auto-regulate this for yourself. So if you're dieting down and you find that the frequency is just too much, you're going to have to kind of skew your frequency back down a little bit. And vice versa. If you find that you can handle a little more intensity, give a little more intensity. If you're feeling pretty good, that's fine. You just have to kind of adjust things on the fly. Inversely, if you're in a lean gain phase and you're feeling good, but you feel like maybe you can handle a little more frequency for a couple of body parts, especially lagging body parts, because in a lean gain phase, that's obviously what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring up those weak body parts, maybe the rear delts, medial delts, whatever, back, chest, whatever it may be. You can kind of add a little bit more frequency, a little more volume to those lagging body parts. So then, obviously, you would bring the frequency up a little bit. That's a bad line. You would bring the frequency up a little bit to give yourself a little bit more frequency on those muscles. So it's all about adjusting, see how your body responds, and then just make the adjustments, guys. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I say every day I'm ballin'.